Hey folks, welcome back. My name is Krishna. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This channel focuses on tips and techniques to improve your digital art skills. I use Photoshop, but many of the techniques that I cover here can be applied to other digital tools that you like to use. So welcome to the channel. I hope you find value in it. Let's get right into it. So we're going to go ahead and create an interior space here. I'm going to start off by just turning on vertical symmetry. And I'll hit enter. And what we're going to do is we're going to simply create a set of lines like so. We're having some curved and we're having some straight lines. That creates a very unusual interior space. You can certainly apply this for traditional rooms that are basically square in shape, but we're going to do something a little bit more exotic here. So once you have that, we're going to turn off the symmetry tool. We're going to hit Command J. Command J is really important in Photoshop because it allows you to duplicate a layer or it allows you to duplicate a selection. So that's one you definitely want to know. Once I've duplicated this, if I hit Command T, it brings up the transform tool. The small compass that you see in the center is basically a pivot point. More on that later. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hold down the Option key and we're going to move the copy in like so. So essentially what we've done is made a copy of the existing lines. And an important point to note is if I want to show more of the ceiling, I would move this copy lower. If I wanted to show more of the floor, I would move this copy up higher. So I'm going to keep it in the center just for the sake of simplicity here. We've got two structures. And now we're going to go ahead and create a surface out of these lines. The way that we're going to do that is we're simply going to find each of the corresponding points on either side, and then we're going to make connections. This gives us a beautiful one-point perspective drawing with very, very little effort. And I'm using my entire arm to create those lines as opposed to my wrist. And it's okay if you overshoot. This is simply a sketch, so I'm not going to be super precious about it. I just want to make it look believable. Let's get that right. Sorry, a little bit of a perfectionist here in some ways. Okay, so we've got our structure in place. We can merge those layers together by holding down Command E after shift selecting the layers. And now we have basically a set of walls. Let's go ahead and connect the two pieces together to create our ceiling. Very good. Now we're going to make a new layer, and what we're going to do is we're going to create the floor, and I would like to create a checkerboard floor. There's many ways of doing this. I want to show you one of the methods that I use that I think is a huge time saver. So again, we're starting with a blank layer. I'm going to simply extend a line that is going to be at the front of the floor. Basically, it's the closest line to the viewer. And what I want to do now is I want to use this line as the basis to create the other horizontal lines that comprise the checkerboard floor. To do that, I will hit Command J to make a copy of the existing line. Then I'm going to hit Command T. If I hit Command T, it brings up the transform tool. So what I'll do now is I'll simply move this copy up like so. I'll hold the Option key down and I'll simply move this copy in to where it's just touching the two walls. I'll hit enter. Now here comes the super fun keyboard shortcut trick. If I hold down Shift, Option, Command T, it simply makes additional copies of that existing line. It uses the transform and it simply applies that transform, I don't know, regressively. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but basically it takes that and kind of transforms it. There are better words than that, but that's what I'm going to use. So I've got now what constitutes the horizontal part of the floor. So for the vertical part of the floor, I'll show you a cheat. I'm going to start out with just one line in the center. I'll hit Command J to make a copy, and then Command T. And I'm going to simply move this. If I hold down the Shift key with the right arrow, I can move it by a certain amount. I'll just go ahead and determine the spacing that I want for my vertical tiles. When I'm happy with it, I'll hit enter. And again, I'll do Shift Option Command T, and it's going to place those lines evenly. But we're going to deal with that in a minute. Once I've got this right-hand side, I'll take all of those vertical lines, hold down the Shift key to select them all, Command E, merge them together, and then I'll make a copy, Command J, move that copy over like so. It's okay if there's a little bit of extra overlap. We're going to address that momentarily. So I've got both copies. I'll merge the copies by shift selecting them, Command E to merge. And now I can use Command T, the transform tool, and choose perspective. I'll simply drag one of the corners out, and I've got something that looks like this. So now I've got a checkerboard floor. And if it's not, I want to make sure that the checkerboard kind of matches the wall. So I'll just hit perspective once more just to go ahead and tune that up. There we go. See how that right edge snaps? I'll do the same thing for the left edge, and maybe that may not be possible here, so I'll just try to get them to be as parallel as possible. So that might just take a little bit of adjustment. And then what I might end up having to do is just move things over, and then I'll just get rid of the parts that I don't want. In fact, I can already tell you right now that I want to scale this up just a little bit. And I'll just get rid of the excess lines that I don't need. So this gives me a nice checkerboard floor with minimal fuss. And from there, I can start to add other elements. So I can just merge all of these guys together. I've got this nice checkerboard floor. I've got a surface now, and I've got a wall, I've got a room that I can use. Let's go ahead and add some lights. I'll go ahead and create an oval like so on a new layer. And once again, I'll do that same trick. I'll hit Command J to make a copy, Command T to transform. I'll hold down the Shift key, nudge the copy down, and then I'll scale it from the center by holding down the Option key. Hit Enter, and now I can hit Shift Option Command T. I'll do it one more time. So I can take these 4 copies and just move them into position. And now I've got a set of lights. Now, the spacing of those lights isn't exactly optimal. So what I may want to do is I can always come back here and say, well, I want the gap to be a little bit greater. You'll have to, use some artist intuition here to make it, look more natural. That's something that the digital tools can't do. It can't think like an artist. You're the artist. You're the one who has to go ahead and look at the results and determine whether or not they make sense. So I can merge all of these layers together. Let's place an object somewhere within this environment. And we're going to use a different color here just so I can demonstrate how I'm going to do this. We'll create another structure. Maybe it's like an arcade cabinet or something like that. I don't know, some kind of a machine. So I'll start off by just making a line like this. I'll hit Command J to make a copy, Command T. I'll move this over and I'll just transform it. Okay. And then all I need to do is connect those lines up together. This gives me one side of an object. And then to finish this off, I'll simply extend 2 lines that are appearing to converge to a vanishing point, and then connect those 2 together. So now I've got an object that is placed on this floor. And again, I like to put these things on separate layers so I have a little bit more flexibility in terms of moving them around. Before I go, I want to go ahead and put a plug-in for my brush pack. The brushes that you see me using here are essentially the ones that I have for sale. They're for about $9 or so, and I'm using the shaved ice inking brush here, which is the brush that I use for this particular demo. It's a great inking brush. So if you're feeling frustrated by the brushes that you're working with, whether it's in Photoshop or Procreate, give these brushes a spin. I think you might actually dig them. So that's the technique. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have any updated comments. Thanks for watching. If you found value in this video, please consider giving it a like. We just broke 1,850 subscribers when this video goes out. So thank you to everyone who is supporting this channel and allowing me to deliver art instruction to help digital artists level up their digital art game. Thanks so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. See ya.